So, I just want to say and express how awesome this series is. You don't always get something like this. Obviously, there are tons and tons of books that I've connected with, that we've all connected with in our life. But this series has something. And I still think that a part of it is this light that it tends to shine. Now, so often I'm used to the forces of dark and then the forces of light coming to shine out and cast out shadow and cast out dark. And I love where the dynamic is in this series. I love how it's being explored. It's just so fantastic. It's just so awesome. And especially this Tist Edur race or whatever. I thought I loved the Talani Mass first. Excuse me. And then I thought I loved the Segula. I still do. And the Kachin Chamal I thought were just kind of cool. Exciting. Love the Bargas. Love the Rivi. Love the Tist Andy. Think the Tist Leosin are a bunch of crazy people, but probably going to love them too. But this Tist Edur, just kind of what they represent in the theme, I think they are at the top of my list. And Trull in the center of it, and this whole Sengar family in the center of it, I just think it's so amazing. Now, I didn't read any yesterday, or actually I have read a tiny bit of chapter 2, but I want to go into just a little bit of chapter 1, just to talk about it. I gave that quick reaction. Book 1, Frozen Blood. I gave that quick reaction about that first scene. I still stand by that. I think that's one of the most poignant first scenes, but also just a scene that kind of gathers what this whole sort of, it just really is a perfect metaphor for some of the things that we've been seeing going on. Now, we have this first epigraph in front of book 1, which is called Frozen Blood, and I'm starting to maybe guess what that is, but the epigraph says this: "There's a spear of ice newly thrust into the heart of the land. The soul within it yearns to kill. He who grasps that spear will know death. Again and again he shall know death." So we know about a spear. We know about a spear that is in these frozen lands. I don't know what it is, but I know that the Trull and them are going to be on this mission to go out. So I'm not gonna get everything in this, but I wanted to gather a few things. Now we have this guy, and I didn't gather if he was a giant who would close his eyes and only see things for what they were. Only see things when the light came up. Now, I find this interesting, and I've been thinking about this Father Shadow. And we know this is the guy from the prologue, the guy who turned on the Tistandi in that moment. And I'm still trying to figure out this on page 36, this gift. Of all the gifts of Father Shadow, that Father Shadow has given his children, this one talent stands tallest. Look away to see. Trust in it, and you will be led into shadow, where all truths hide. Look away to see. Now, I think you can take that a few ways. Sometimes when you see that, I think, well, is he the first time I read that, I thought, oh, he's trying to tell them, he's trying to kind of lead them into ignorance. That's the way I first read it. Like, don't look away, or don't look towards the thing that people are telling you. look this way and see. Now, that can be a way of like, oh, don't look at this over here. Listen to what I'm telling you. And that would be, that's wrought with peril. Or look away from these things that are wrong and then look over here and see. I guess it just depends on which way you land on that, on your opinion on that thing that you are not looking at. And I'm still not totally sure where I land on that. And that might just be a fault of my own as a reader. I don't know. But I'm going to be thinking about that a whole bunch, and I have been thinking about that. All right, so now we get this owl, the mice that's... anyway, we get to Troll. And Troll has seen that, once again, these Lethari, light-skinned Lethari people have been kind of landing on their shores and kind of encroaching. And other tribes have been there, but they are different. The Tisti-Dur are different than the Lethari. And I like that there's these rules within the Edur that, there's you fight amongst the tribes. That's just natural. But there's some certain rules that we don't cross. We're not uncivilized. We're not barbarians. But when it comes to dealing with the Lethari people, enslave them, do whatever you need. No such rules apply. And again, we've seen that kind of thing in our own history, where if you had citizenship in ancient Rome, it's very different than not having citizenship, or it could be different. So I really like that. Anyway, Troll, I like this because right away we see that Troll has been bloodied, or there's these unblooded and bloodied, and I don't know exactly if that means Troll has killed and the others haven't. The unblooded haven't. I don't understand that quite yet. But it sounds like he does not want to go fight these people. He doesn't relish in it as much as some of these Edur do, but he does his duty in going to report what is going on. And I like this, how, man, it just seems like, I don't know. I don't know what's up with the Edur, because earlier I thought, okay, well, these guys were super vicious. These guys were super strong. And now it seems like sometimes they maybe get a bad rap. Obviously, they are strong. They live in this city where there's about, for every one Edur, there's 3 or 4 of these Lethari slaves, which I can't remember who said that in Rome. I think it was it Pliny the Elder? I don't think it was Pliny the Younger, but you have as many enemies as you have slaves. It probably wasn't either of them, but someone said that. So I'm just waiting for that kind of rebellion to show up. Obviously Troll does not want another war here. His older brother has an epic name, just Fear Sengar. Let's see. We have Troll's dilemma. Though he might decry the killing that was to come, he would do so only to himself, and he would stride alongside his brother, sword in hand, to deliver the Edur judgment upon the trespassers. There was no choice. Turn from the crime, and more would follow, in waves unending. Very cool. So at first I wasn't sure about these Lethari. I don't know if this ice field kind of spreads and forces them to kind of migrate, but it sounds like they just can't help themselves, and they keep kind of pushing into these other places. So we have this Hanan Mosag, who's the warlord of these different places, or these different tribes of the Edur, and he has the first son of of each of the war chiefs in the Edur clans to kind of hold them hostage for good behavior. Let's see. I can skip some of this because you've probably read all that. They often refer back to this Father Shadow, who is this guy who I thought Mother Dark and Father Shadow in them. It sounded like they were kind of like the really early. Prometheus wasn't one of the early. I'm trying to think of the Greek pantheon. One of the very, very early ones. And it sounded like they were going to be those, but he's just another guy. So who knows how far back this goes. And that's what's so exciting about this. Because, man, I'm just so excited. Let's see. They're going into this area. There's whale bones, so we know they're sailors. They have all these totems that have been stolen from other tribes. Stealing another totem or an idol from its abode or its resting place, that could totally cripple another tribe. So that's, it sounds like the Edur do exactly that. Let's see. We know that dark times immediately followed Father Shadow's disappearance. I forgot about that. They have this Emurlan blade, which we don't know how they made it because it's some lost, forgotten forging technique. That's exciting. There's just how can he just add so many things in this that I want to know about? But that sword is kind of the sword of the Sengar family, which is awesome. Sounds like ancestry means a lot in this tribe, or among a lot of these people, but among the Edur as well. Let's see. Sounds like this younger brother, Rulad, he kind of badmouths Trull, which, yeah, it's interesting because at first it seemed like they were fine, but it sounds like he wants to get his butt kicked by one of his older brothers, and that'll like make him bloodied. I don't know. I don't understand that, which is fine because eventually it'll come. Okay. They have a task. So this father tells the sons that the warlord has this task for them. And of course, it's going to be it's based on this vision that he has had. He's had this dream where they have gone across this ice field to collect to this spear in the, this huge kind of thing of ice in the ice, or just a spear. Can't remember exactly how it was, but to collect something from there. And Trull has already been collecting jade. I think it was him doing that. And I figure there's got to be some kind of jade thing or something that responds sort of the same way as the jade responded to Hoboric. So I'm thinking, go there, don't touch it with your skin, wrap it up. It's for this war chief guy. And I'm assuming that this war chief not only wants to unify the tribes, but wants to, take over all of the continent and probably go and take over the first throne, probably retake the throne of Shadow and, all of that stuff. So I'm all here for that if that's what's going on. There's this meeting. Let me make sure I don't miss anything because this is very, very, very cool. Okay. Okay. I'm going to skip some of this because if you've read it, then it's fine. All right. We have this Udinas. I'm not sure. He is one of these Lethari slaves, but he is within the household of the Sengar, which is cool. And it sounds like, he's perfectly happy. I mean, I don't know, but it seems like as the Edur are going to go kick some butt. It sounds like to these Lethari, a part of his people, but he he gets his sustenance and he gets his security through the Edur people, through the Sengar family. So it's interesting that on his side, he's like, I just want to eat. I just want to be safe. I don't want this big fuss. They can do what they need to do as long as we keep going. As long as I'm okay, and as long as my family or whatever, the people I love are okay. And I might be reading that a little wrong, but it's interesting to see that. Yeah, he just wants security and stuff. I like that to the Lothari, gold means something special. Now, we've had this thing where this kind of oracle feather lady, what's her name? I'm skipping, but anyway, she does this kind of ritual thing and then gets picked up by some kind of invisible talon something. He jumps in and starts getting bit and stuff, and this gold blood or something kind of gets into him maybe. So it sounds like if they love gold so much, and now maybe this gold is like a part of him, I mean, that would make him the most valuable, kind of in some symbolic way. So I'm waiting for him to be kind of the Lothari something special. Very cool. I like that this Hanan war chief has some kind of bodyguard summoned from this pure curled Emerlane or Emerlon, however you say it. Which makes him, it seems like he's tapped into something that not everyone can do. Very cool. All right, I flippin' marked so much. I marked so much on this. But I like that Troll gets to this council. There's everyone there. And he walks in and he has some, they kind of invite him forward, and he conveys what he saw. He saw these ships come in. I think it was 19 ships. They're already kind of taking all these seals from the oceans or whatever, and these are things that they need. And as they are imposing onto Edur lands, that's making it so that their supplies that they are needing, their granaries or whatever, to hold them for a time of famine, are being kind of, this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing to them. And they saw Troll, and they laughed. And I kind of love that Troll just threw his spear right at the guy. Threw his spear, but that left an Edur unarmed. And everyone's just in a rage about this laughing. They are just in a rage about these Lothari. And then this war chief says, well, we're not going to go in. There's going to be a reckoning, but it's not going to be at your hand, at least not right now. The raiders will die, but not one of you shall spill their bloods. And everyone's like, man. And there's going to be a full unveiling of the shadow, which I'm so excited about. The last time this happened was from this Father Shadow type, and this cast a silence on the room. So something crazy is going to happen. I don't know what that's going to be, but I am so excited. Like, you have no idea. Okay. Oh, yeah, the Feather Witch is that lady, so we can skip some of that. They talk about this white crow, which I'm going to keep my eye on this white crow. Yes, and she talks about this kind of history. It sounds like something they all have done, on like Passover and stuff. They have like certain passages that they would read, I believe. So there's certain passages, like in certain kind of cultures, where these are a special thing that they read at that time. And it sounds like this passage of how these holds came to be is what these Lethari kind of talk about. Let's see. To witness the rise of the holds. First come the three fulcra. So there's fire and there's dolmen, and then between them the errant. And then but the fire and dolmen, there's this mutual annihilation, and from the errant it sounds like ice, Elaint, which is the dragons, and then Azath, beast, axe, knuckles, blade, pack, shapeshifter, and white crow, which is the one that I think about the most. And then this last hold, which is obviously the most important one, I think. And it's at the very heart of Lethari worship. It is the empty hold. The empty hold. Ugh. Like it gave me goosebumps reading this because it's just amazing. I love that Steven, like, he doesn't just give you everything in the first book. He lets you sit on things. And when you finally get these answers, it's just in the greatest way. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that? It's just amazing. We can go to all these different tribes and things and immediately find something kind of impactful with them and find something to like about them. I haven't heard of any of these people in these other books, and I am so in. I'm so in. It's just a strength of his writing and a strength of his world building. All right. The Azath. Okay, there's this part about the Azath. A deadly shelter for the tyrants. Oh, they are so easily lured and so balance achieved. And there's also, but the tread of time is itself a prison. This war against time. The ice hold rises with its attendant servants who journey through the realms to war against time. Which, dang it, I wish I understood what the heck that meant. Upon the throne of ice sits death. Then to achieve balance once more is born the Elaint. Whatever. Chaos is given flesh. That means the dragons are basically chaos. That flesh is draconic. And one hold remains. Then everyone says, the empty hold, or whatever. Okay, then we get this invisible dragons thing. And then this feather witch, which this Unidas, or whatever, has a kind of a bit of a crush on. They're both in this kind of spiritual sort of realm talking. They know they're about to go back and kind of into their bodies. They're having this sort of out-of-body experience. And she is resisting on his behalf. Even though, they're getting healed and da-da-da-da-da. But dang it, it goes back to something else. Let me just skip to that because it was so cool. Right. So this is important. He's supposed to keep his mouth shut when he goes back. She talked about this Urath, wife to Tomad Sengar, came to answer to our dreams, to our distress. She drew upon curled Emerlane to kind of try to help them. Oh, I like this line when she looks at the Feather Witch, looks at Unitas and says, "Your love burns my eyes, Unitas." Okay, so yeah, she called upon this curled Emerlane to kind of drive away this baby dragon or whatever. Now, even though her power feels, the curled Emerlane of shadow feels pure to this lady, this feather witch recognizes that it is stained, and we know that from these other from these other books. So we have the stained shadow. Okay, and this is where we have another kind of blood that had spilled across Unitas's chest, gold and glistening still. Okay, and then basically we're at the end here, but let me just. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay. I don't want to get everything here. When Benedus returns, which is that third son, the sons of Tomed will set forth into the ice wastes. And when they are about to go, so Unidus or whatever is there, and Troll and them are there, the warlocks there, they're all looking at Unitas and Featherwitch kind of coming back, and this mysterious wraith that the war chief kind of summons, that's kind of his bodyguard, looks back with a single glance, and nobody really knows who he's looking at. I don't know if he's looking at the Featherwitch or this Unitas person or Troll or someone else. And very interesting. Recognizes something going on. I'm pretty sure it must be this Unitas guy that he's gotten his attention. But very interesting. Very cool first chapter. I'm about halfway through the second chapter, and can't wait. I'll get to it as soon as I can. And yeah, really loving it so far. And I'll talk to you on the next one.